people, pay good money to go see you play, and you just like, for me, it's just really important that they leave with a, they leave a positive review on Amazon after the show. I'm all about the review.
Yo, it's a Sugarshack. Sit back, relax, cause it's time for another podcast.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Sugarshack podcast. Today, I am sitting down with Will Evans.
Hi.
Will, welcome back to the shack.
Thank you.
Man.
It's good to be here.
Will's in town for an On the Spot that he just wrapped up. It's awesome song. Excited to talk more about it. And you came from Vero Beach area, so you're in Florida right now.
Yeah, today I did come from there. I'm from Rhode Island, so by way of New England, I made it down here.
Dude, weather's bad right now there?
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
When do you have to go back?
No, we're super psyched because we're here for the month.
Oh,
I've got
nice.
a bunch of shows around Florida. Reggae Rise Up in a couple weeks. So the whole fam is here.
You're doing a pop-up at Rise Up too, right?
I am, yeah.
That's awesome.
I think I have the evening set at the Shack stage.
Nice.
It's
going to be
psyched.
I'm so interested to see your perspective, like, as it's developed. Were you there last year? I was
just there
around or whatever.
4 or 5 years ago, I feel
Okay.
like, when I was touring with Trevor Hall, and
Dude.
I got a chance to to kind of jump off and do a quick pop-up it was probably the first year, I think, that Sugarshack was at Reggae Rise Up.
Got it.
And it was almost like the energy at that stage was more fun to me than like the actual main stage, because people were just passing by, and it's just like it's like the Sugarshack. It's very like real, raw, and in your face. And I think I won a lot of people over, which was like kind of a cool, because people are just passing by, and then they're like, oh, this is kind of this is hip. Like, they're right here. The artist is right here, and I just love how. That's how Sugarshack just presents everything, like, unblemished, blemished.
Yeah.
Blemished.
Nice little mix of the two, for sure.
That's right.
Man, last year was my first year, but it's so interesting. I'll love to hear your perspective on it when you're there. Like, at least for me last year, it's like you talk about the energy of the place. It's like everywhere was like crazy high energy, like rah, rah, rah. And then you got to our campsite area, and it just went whoom.
Oh, nice.
It's like everybody was chilling and sleeping. Like, of course, when we weren't playing,
Sure.
lights were everywhere, and I don't know, man. It was cool. And then it would turn up big, and then
Yeah.
it's like one of the cool places. I mean, people like that whole weekend just stayed there. It was really cool, man. It's gonna be really fun. I'm
Epic.
excited to meet new people there, and I don't know, just hang out with you in that context. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Super excited to have you here, man. Thank you for taking the time just to sit down and
Yeah, my pleasure.
I would love to hear from you, because I personally don't know it. What is your origin story as a musician? Like, how have you gotten to this point? I mean, I know you could probably go back far, but things that stand out to you.
Kind of my first experience with music that I can remember is I used to sing in the Baptist choir when I was 5.
Wow.
And I think being in like a cathedral type environment where you could really hear like the resonance of your voice in like this empty chamber, and singing with other people, I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person, but that experience of music really was what kept me going back to church and keeping me like really. I just loved hearing these hymns kind of like from the rafters, and like that energy exchange between like the audience and the performers, was like, I knew at that age already I was like addicted. And it's interesting because they used to teach us the hymns all in unison. You would have to sing like the same note. And I remember just instinctively singing the harmonies because I liked how that sounded. I liked, and later in life I kind of realized like that. It's almost like an analogy for life. Like, you don't have to agree with somebody, but you can still be in harmony with them. You don't have to sing the same note as somebody else,
Right.
but you can still sound really beautiful together.
Yeah.
So I love how music has opened up so many doors for me and introduced me to so many amazing people and like brought me places like the Sugarshack, and you know, it's been like a tough love. You know, I won't say it's been easy.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to, you know, have a career that pulls you away from home and family ties if you're like a homebody type person, and I definitely am. And it's always been family first for me, but trying to find out how to balance that life is really, you know, it's worth it for me because music's given me so much, and
Yeah.
I feel like I got a few things to give back as well. So,
Man, absolutely. It's an incredible way of looking at it. Other than the pull away from home, what's another challenge that you've experienced? What's been hard?
I mean, just physically, it's the late nights kind of, even when you get to a level where you're in a tour bus or whatever.
Right. You're talking about like the strain of touring.
Yeah. I think that took more of a toll on me than I realized was happening. You know, for years I used to play drums and sing lead vocals in a band called Barefoot Truth, and I used to stand on the top of my drum throne every night at the end of the show and try to rile up the crowd, and then I would jump from like full, you know, 10-foot drop straight into a seated position and try to hit the last note.
Yeah.
And guess what? Last year I had back surgery.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was from that, but
Didn't help.
I'm sure there's, you know, some indication of all those years of like not using in-ears, you know, my ears, I have tinnitus still, you know, things that you just kind of shove aside when you're young and hungry, you know, and you're just like, you'll take any gig. Some of the drives we did, man, some of the, you know, skidded off the road a couple times with the trailer and the van in Vermont in the, you know, middle of January. Like,
wow.
Those type of things, you know, I'm lucky to be here for sure. But that kind of like tenacity and like grit, I think is built up like a real like callus in my being of who I am and like why I just keep going, because if those things didn't deter me, then what could, you know?
Sure. I mean, when you're that passionate about music, and I mean, like we all are here, man. I mean, it drives us, and we'll make those crazy drives, and we'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
That's awesome. You're a dad.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, right. I know. I've got my unicorn sticker still on.
There it is.
Dad life. How old is you? You have a daughter.
Yeah.
How old is she?
Hazy is 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, and she is full of piss and vinegar, as they say. She's a rough and tumble. Yeah, I wrote that song about her, obviously.
Yeah.
If I had her at 2.5, I don't know if I would have written such a sweet song.
You're in the dark days right now.
They're not dark. They're just chaotic at times. You know? Yeah. There's a lot of mood swings.
Yeah.
Very quickly. It's actually hilarious. You know,
Yeah.
like. But
and all the boundary testing, like,
oh yeah,
no, I want this. I can do that, and just trying to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, just this morning I was, you know, I said like, okay, that's the last pancake you get.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip, of course.
Sure.
And she waited for her mom to come in, who hadn't been in the room, and said, "Mama, can I have another pancake?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, sure." I was like, "No, I just," and then, you know, and she looks at me and goes,
"Oh, she's already working
I
it."
was like, "You little." Oh, she's working it hard. I'm effed.
Oh, that's so funny, man. It's daughters have that way with dads.
Yeah.
Pulling you in.
Yeah. I'm all right with it though. It's been a blessing the last couple of years, you know, especially with not as much touring going on, to just like, I mean, I saw her grow up, which was, you know, was such a silver lining to this whole thing. So,
yeah, to be able to like kind of not by choice, but have to be home and be present. Mm-hmm. That gift ended up being that you could have those moments that maybe you would have had to be awake for or whatever. Yeah. It's awesome, man. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't imagine, because I mean, right now, I mean, you know, I'm not touring or playing or anything like that. But for you, what is that like? That tug and pull of home life and being at home and being present, but knowing that to develop a music career to some extent requires being away from home.
Yeah, I mean it's a constant battle, like to find that balance. I don't think I ever have successfully, but I start to feel the strain, you know, after a few weeks of being on the road or whatever. Like, you know, only so many FaceTime calls until you feel like pretty guilty, and like I haven't really experienced that yet since I've been home so much the last couple of years. And we're sort of like reacclimating to getting back out there, touring again. And so I can't say for sure like what
that'll be like,
what that looks like yet, but we're gonna figure it out, because we've got a lot of dates this year, and it's and we got to go for it too, because like I owe it to myself and my family. You know, that's how I provide too. So
but you know, man, you're gonna kill it in the sense of like already with that mindset and that approach. Sure, it'll be challenging, you know, but it's encouraging just to see you navigating that and caring so much. I remember when I was sitting down with Mike Love, he had mentioned something similar where it's like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. It is a strain. And he's now at the point where he's just manages his tours in those bursts like that.
Yeah.
And he's found a way to make it work, you know, and still invest into what he loves to do and give fans an experience, but also be like a very present dad. And I thought that was really cool. I never thought, sometimes, I don't know, I'm black and white in my thinking, and it's like you're either on the road all the time or you're not developing as a musician. But this day and age, there's so much more that I think we could, different ways to approach it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of hybrid versions of what being a touring musician looks like now. You know, like I know for me, like I do a lot of house concerts, and I really enjoy that because it feels more personal to the audience and the host to be able to share a meal together afterwards.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's similar to this experience, right? We're gonna have a nice burger thanks to Traeger Grills.
Yes, we are.
After this podcast,
they're cooking right now.
and like, to me, that's like what music's about. It's like the hang is just as important as the show, you know. Like sometimes like the build up of a big show is so like stressful and toxic, because you're you know, it's hard to not get kind of caught up in your own facade, your own image, you know. And that's not why I play music. You know, I play for my healing, for others' healing, and that really like simple connection of, you know, oh, that song really helped me through something, or that song really connected with me in this way. That's why that's why I do this.
Yeah.
It's good to remember that, I think, and touring can be very much like counter that mindset, you know. At certain levels, you know. So yeah, I think it's a balance of you have to go out there and try to grow your brand and grow your business, of course.
Right.
But to like pull back and do some shows that are more like community based and really like remember your roots is super important to me, at least, you know. And I think a lot of the artists that come through would agree. Every year we do like a lot of community service events where, you know, we'll do a big beach cleanup in the morning, and then you know, raise money for kids who need new coats for the winter or something like that. And then we'll play like the show that evening, just like making it more about the collective community being involved in this kind of messaging and you know, the conscious music collective, and doing something bigger than just a show.
Sure.
You know,
when you said something earlier, it stood out to me. You said that for you, music, you know, you play music for your healing, for the healing of others. When did you discover that's how you were going to use music in your life? At what point?
I think somewhere around my mid-20s, I did a songwriting collaborative. It was like a publishing type of deal where I would go to Nashville and I would get in a room with 4 other songwriters in the morning, and then we'd write a song in an hour, and then we'd give it to the publisher and they'd try to sell it to a big artist, whatever. Right. Then I would go to my next meeting at 11 o'clock and do the same thing again at 3, whatever. So I did this for a couple trips. I want to say I went down there, and we'd write these songs, and I just felt very like, I don't know, gross, for lack of a better word. It was like it was a toxic experience for me. Also a necessary one, because I would get to a point in the song where like maybe I liked the beginning of this song, but I couldn't get through this lyric or whatever, this stanza, and somebody would just be like, "Oh, let's just just use this and let's move on. Box it, ship it, done." And to me, like, songwriting is just so much more personal than that, and like I'd never really felt fulfilled doing that. It was fun at times to collaborate, but when I feel like truly fulfilled is when I kind of have to go deep into sometimes it's like a little bit masochistic, but like if I'm really depressed or like in a dark place, I sometimes invite that experience in deeper so I can potentially write something really amazing from it, because in my experience, like, I have had to suffer for like my best songs that I really feel passionate about. Yeah. It's either like I'm euphoric or I'm like depressed, that the best work has seemed to come out of me. Yeah. So that was kind of an experience that taught me that, that I have to really like, follow my heart and follow my passion of writing music that really has soul and really has meaning. And I think that translates to the listener, the type of person that will come see me or whatever generally has either been through some sort of trauma themselves or uses the music in a way that fills the gaps. Yeah. And that's, to me, is like serving a greater purpose, even if it doesn't get into a stadium or, or whatever. Yeah. That's okay. Like, it's more than okay.
It's more than okay, because when you're looking at music in this way, through this perspective, it's like, blowing up in a stadium or whatever. It's like going far and shallow, versus a select few people a select number of people on this planet to say that your music or my music or whatever, like, changed someone's life and made a difference. To impact one life, you know what I mean, is more valuable than to write a killer pop song and it go radio. So I agree with that. It's beautiful, really. It's the deeper inner workings of music. It's the deeper work of music. And saying that, I'd love to hear more about. Is there a bird? Oh, squirrel. There's always something.
Flying squirrel.
Something's here that's distracted us or jumping across something. And
the animals tend to come whenever I am here. They make their presence known.
There are certain artists that animals are drawn to. It's fascinating. It really is. Like that one night we were doing a podcast with a little stranger and an owl showed up.
An owl?
An owl.
Oh, that's cool.
Some weird. No. An owl came and scooped up a mouse, didn't it? And we were like,
that's epic.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Back on track.
Well, that kind of
messenger,
segues to the last time I was here. I did the handpan and didgeridoo performance. Yes. In the jungle area of the property here, and 2 black racers, snakes, kind of made their way underneath my little setup there.
So you're playing, and while you started playing, 2 snakes
I think
came
I
up?
set up, played a little bit, and then it was like they came out of the jungle, and they were like, whoa, that's my jam, or whatever. And I'm terrified of snakes, so I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not doing this for you.
sorry guys, but I think Justin was nice enough to usher them away.
Ward them off.
Yeah, but
Leave it up to him.
yeah, it was wild, and we didn't have a name for that song, so we called it Snake Charmer after that.
Perfect.
Which was
Very fitting.
very fitting indeed. Yeah.
I'd love to hear more while we're on the subject
Yeah.
of songs and names. Why did you name this song you did on the spot Messenger?
So, and Messenger is actually the name of like the tour that I'm currently
Okay.
on right now.
Cool.
I feel like, my daughter's birth was like she was delivered to us in such a like traumatic fashion. It was like an extremely long, difficult birth, and our first, of course, and like just kind of going through that battle. When she would be in her little bassinet, I would play, I'd play guitar for her and kind of soothe her with music. And she just taught me about patience and really like learning how to, and I'm not a patient person at all. I'm like a go. And so like having this thing that you have to like keep alive and like take care of, was difficult for me in the beginning. But I would play music for her and I could see like the reaction, and like I just started thinking about her as like this, she's a messenger for me to that I need to protect and watch over and all those things, and so that song kind of came through really effortlessly in those moments of just hanging out with her. I think I wrote it in like 2 sessions or something.
Yeah.
And just, as a father, like the the kind of overwhelming sense of protectiveness that comes out of the depths of you don't know where, and for me to like
Irrational.
to
times.
translate that into a song.
Yeah.
And particularly in this world that we live in now, like where there's pandemics and wars and all these things and these questions, for somebody who's like a feeler and a really like aware of energy, to like protect, like create a bubble around your kid was what I try to do. And it's to a fault because you can't, right? You have to let them experience the world on their own.
Yeah.
And I'm learning every day to let go. But, for me, writing a song is therapy. So that was a way to kind of help myself
Process that emotion.
Yeah. And put down what I was feeling, which is like, I'm going to be your armor.
Yeah.
And I always will too,
Sure.
So
That's what we're here for.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Even if she doesn't want anything to do with me when she's 16, I'm still going to go listen to that song and kind of get in that mindset of like, okay, I really hate her right now, but this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Still have to be protective.
Totally. Yeah. That's so funny.
I could never hate her. I don't
No,
mean
I
that,
know what
but
you
know
mean.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I can't imagine what that's going to be like
Yeah.
when we get to that point. The amount of frustration.
how old is yours?
4.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
She's testing.
Yeah.
Earlier, I really related to something that you said earlier. You were talking about how there are times that you've gone through some dark seasons to create really beautiful songs, and I can relate to that in the healing process of that. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that it's the darker moments in life that, like, I feel like it's that case for a lot of musicians and a lot of songwriters that there's something about the suffering part that produces a type of song, that you can't write when everything's going well.
Yeah.
So what do you, from your perspective, and as you've used music as therapy, like, why do you think that is?
What do I attribute that to?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that we're more in touch with our emotions when something devastating happens. Like, you feel it physically a lot more, and you need somewhere to exfoliate that. You can't just like sit with it because from what I've found, I get, you can go to a scary place where it's very unhealthy, and I'm also not great at talking to people about it. So, I'll bury myself in a piano or a guitar or whatever, and try to let whatever that feeling is come out in the chords, and then that sort of starts shedding your skin a little bit. I just think that generally being, like I said, either in a euphoric state or a depressed state enables you to be more in touch with these emotions, and this creative energy sort of wells up, it seems, at those times.
Interesting.
Whereas when you're super balanced, like your shit's all together,
Right.
like I have dry spells, where I'm like, my life is so good right now. I've got nothing to
Nothing to write about.
Like I'm completely boring, like uninterested, you know? So like I said, I as hard as it is, I'll sometimes invite those feelings in more during those moments, because I know like something might come out of it that I'm really proud of, or that, really connects with people, because everybody has these same times in their life where they go through these moments, and that's when they need, musical medicine.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. It's great insight. We wanted to do some Q&A. We got some audience here. Anybody got a question for Will? All right.
Yes, a young woman in the front there.
Lisa.
Young.
If you could be any musical instrument, what would you be and why?
Oh, Lisa needs to come do this. Hey, why don't you take my job?
If I could be any musical instrument, I don't know. I feel like maybe a shaker or something, because, good cardio.
A shaker.
I don't know. Maybe I'd probably be a guitar, or like the slide guitar that I play, just because it resonates so much.
I love that.
With who I am.
It's a good one.
That would be my spirit instrument. It is my spirit instrument.
You've decided.
Yeah.
What about you, Bryce?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's your spirit instrument?
What's my spirit instrument? This is really hard. This is hard.
Yeah.
Definitely would have to be something stringed, I think.
Yeah.
No, I played, my entry to music was through orchestra. 4th grade, and then in 5th grade, I started cello. And I played cello for almost a decade. So it'd have to be something like that. I feel like Bo's spirit instrument would be like that. Because I think you can create some of those really just beautiful harmonies, and really good players, you know what I mean? Can just create chords out of this instrument. It's big, full sound.
If you turn it sideways,
It's cello. It's a bass. Classic
Couple dads
School
here.
of Rock joke.
couple dads here. Yeah.
Which, speaking of dads, we were talking about Encanto,
Oh my God.
and how many times we've seen it over and
Yes.
over. So I have to ask you, what's your favorite Encanto song? You've listened to them all.
Yeah.
But what's the one that you can live with now?
I love Surface Pressure,
Surface Pressure's good.
especially because my daughter is amped when that comes on.
Yeah.
And just that she relates to the strong girl. I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
This is Ella too. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
You're
Yeah.
strong. I'm
Yeah.
strong like Luisa.
And it works too. Like she said to her grandfather recently, what did she say? She was like trying to fit in her bathing suit from last year, and she's grown obviously, and she goes, "Oh, I'm too powerful for these." And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" That's the
I'm
type
too
of
powerful for these.
that's the type of
Yeah.
positive reinforcement that
Yeah.
young people should have. Like I was like super proud at that moment.
So
you know?
awesome. I love it.
So, yes. Any more questions from? Yes.
Speaking of songs, what's your favorite feel-good song?
By any artist.
Any artist?
Favorite feel-good song?
Few good. You want to go first?
No, I don't know. It's changes for me.
Yeah. There's a band from New Zealand called Catch a Fire, and anything they play is. But I think they have this one called Giddy Up, and it just brings me back to. I did some traveling in New Zealand in college, and went and saw them play a few times when I was there, and I just surfed all over that country, and it just brings me right back to that time in my life where I had no nothing to take care of except myself and trying to find waves and yeah, it just reminds me of surfing, which has also brought me like so much to my life is you know,
Yeah.
surfing, being in nature. And so thanks for your question.
That's a great question.
Catch a Fire, shout out.
Catch a
You
fire.
guys got to get them on the.
I have almost.
Have you? Oh, dude.
I'm around these parts, man.
No. No.
What about you, Bryce?
Eddie's is like, what about you, Bryce? It changes for me because
It's a Will
I
Evans
get-
song, though, right?
Huh?
It's a Will Evans song, though.
It is definitely
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
Evans' song. Yeah. It changes, but I listen to music weird. I like listen to one or two albums until I've exhausted them. And
Yep.
so typically the feel good is for me listening to like a whole album and just freaking jamming it out in the car, windows down and just. So right now it's Time in the Sun by Susto. It's the newest Susto album.
Okay.
I turned that on and it's a real like beachy, I don't know, it's just it's a good album. You should check it out.
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
really,
like
really good.
perfect for Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can like sit under a UV light back home
Yeah.
and listen to it with some headphones on.
Don't joke. I have one.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
do.
Any other questions? What's up, Katie?
Paint us a picture of what's kind of going on in your mind, maybe the world you put yourself into right before you step out on stage.
Ooh. Okay. Post show jittery kind of vibes, like what's going on. One, it's like, do I have the correct like pH balance? For me, it's like a little bit of Jack and ginger, but not too much, because there's a fine line of like being loose or being loose.
Yeah.
With more O's.
Yeah, exactly. And then like usually like a throat coat, tea as well. I have like 3 different drinks usually that, so like making sure that's all in line. I've done like my little vocal warm-ups and stuff. And I'm just like, just really present, I feel like, you know, because people, you know, pay good money to go see you play. And you just really, like for me, it's just really important that they leave with a, you know, they leave a positive review on Amazon after the show. I'm all about the reviews. No, I just want people to really enjoy the experience, and like, because I as an independent artist, like I depend so much on them coming back time and time again, and spreading the word. I don't have a label. These people are my lifeblood, so really like reiterating that to them and to myself before I go on stage, like, you know, give these people a great experience, and beyond that, like, if there's an asshole there, then fuck them. That's right.
Nice.
It happens sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
But you don't know what they're going through, so
It's true.
it's what it is.
It's great. Great answer. Well, I think to wrap up Q&A, we have these awesome plants from Via Citrus. These are one of our sponsors.
Oh, right.
And these are calamondins. Is that what these are right here? So I feel like you and I should eat one. We should each eat one.
Okay.
We eat them all the time.
Is it the same
on camera.
same like thing as normal oranges, like the
Yeah, you'll just peel it
the
and then
more orange,
you can
the-
eat it with the skin on.
Eat up and we'll tell you.
Is this like a cruel trick?
No. You can eat them with the skin on. Just power through. All right. Cheers, bro.
What did you say?
It's like a kumquat.
What does that mean?
it's a fruit.
What kind of podcast is this?
All right. It's a bunch of seeds.
I can't. I'm sorry.
You gonna do it?
Just power through it.
I'm powering through.
It's worth it.
I don't know.
It gets sweet.
It might be the Miller latte that's
Yeah. Here are my seeds.
it's very acidic.
Woo. We did it though.
No, I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't do it. You spit it out.
I did, yeah. All right. No, I can't.
It's like eating mushrooms or something. Like,
I can't. Oh my God.
well, thanks for trying.
I hate you guys.
It's like the hot ones. We should do that. Like the hot ones podcast.
I knew it was going to be a thing.
It's the first time we did it. Actually, Justin was like, "Hey, make him eat one of these." I was like, "All right, bet." He said that right before we started.
Is the podcast like cover going to be like my face.
Yeah,
like,
right? Definitely some clickbait shit for sure.
it is. I know. Yeah.
Will, anything else you'd like to share? I know you've got your touring.
Yeah, I've
new
got-
record. We haven't even talked about that yet.
I
know
do
you're putting
have a new record coming out this year. We're going to do it in 3 parts. It's going to be 3 EPs: the Ocean, Spirit, and Mountain EP.
Wow.
And each one, represents kind of a journey through the last few years that I've written this album, and just gotten a lot of incredible people on board. Trevor Hall did some producing. Jeff Martin was an incredible producer and engineer for this record. Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 makes a feature on this record. Bobby Alou from Australia, a great musician. So just like it's full of people that I really admire, and just went really deep into this record and these songs. So I'm excited to get them into the world and out of my head.
The little bit I've heard, it's amazing, man. I can't wait to hear more.
Thanks, brother.
Will, thanks so much for sitting down. Thanks for coming and driving and making it out today.
Absolutely.
Super excited about everything you've got coming up and can't wait to hear more. Yeah, so wait, before that, tell me about your experience at the Shack.
My favorite
Yeah.
experience at the Shack.
Yeah, your favorite experience at the Shack.
It's the next one. It's always the next one.
Always the next one.
That's
a
right.
really good response.
Yeah.
Always the next
So I
one.
love coming here, and I can't say that one's been better than the next. It's always like just family when I get here. I'm like, yep, this
That's
is where
awesome.
I'm supposed to be. So let's do it again.
When
What
did
do you got open?
Oh, yeah, like tomorrow.
Seriously.
Anytime.
Awesome.
What about you, Bryce?
Big love.
My favorite experience at the Shack? Yeah, Eddie. Fuck. What about you, Bryce? This is some really on the spot stuff happening here. I think so far, full session, it's gotta be the Little Stranger session.
Kevin.
Kissing Kevin. It
Oh,
was
did you
just a
kiss
big
him?
it's a whole go back and watch the episode, I guess, right? But I think it was only like I hadn't been to many sessions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I grew up in the kind of like indie emo scene and stuff, so
Yeah.
I don't know, they just kind of have that type of a vibe to them, and getting to interact with them and just being here for that moment was like one of those
Yeah.
big session moments. But I wasn't here for yours. And I mean, yours is talk, man.
Okay.
People talk about your session.
Okay.
A lot of people. And that's the Traeger beeping.
Okay.
That means it's time to eat.
It's time to eat.
It's time to eat. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. It's time to eat. We got some burgers grilling. See you next time.
Hey, we're the assless chaps.
Yeah, right? We can figure something out. All right, we'll figure something out.
I was promised asshole straps.
With the Sugarshack, with the vibes on lock and the love's on tap. Said giving it back to the Sugarshack. Said I'm taking it back to the Sugarshack. Said I'm taking it back to the Sugarshack. Where the vibes are high and the love is on tap, tap.